Okay, let's see if everything's working. We have green light here. We have green light over here. I have got some information for you guys. Well, it appears to be working. So, good morning, everybody. Brad here again. I apologize for this not so live Bible devotion. However, I really wanted to keep going with this, and I didn't want you guys to fall away, and I didn't want you to lose interest because this is really, really an important kind of section of this scripture. And even though we're having this hard time of trying to get it done on the road, while we're visiting grandbabies. We I felt like it was important enough to keep going, even though it's not live. So we're gonna be back live again, live. God willing, on Monday. And also wanted to say thank you to someone out there who basically helped us out, gave us a little donation, love kind of thing, for our cow, and I have news on that, but I want to do this first, so I'll give you some news on that. But special thank you to that person. So thank you, and let's get started. We are in Second Samuel, and we're going to read 19 chapter 19, 1 through 15, because I really want to split up this second section. So basically, now what has happened is Absalom is dead, and the king is having serious grief. And you can go back, and this whole thing has been like crazy, unstoppable action film, kind of amazing things happening. The political intrigue and the backbiting and all of that kind of stuff, it's all in there. But Absalom, the rebeller, the leader of the rebellion, has basically been quashed, and a lot of the leadership sided with Absalom. There was a split. The whole country it was a complete rift. The 12 tribes of Israel were not united. And so basically, David is starting to try to put things back together. But Joab, the general, David's general, really has to shake him up because David is not acting in a way that he should. And so here we go. Verse 1. It was told Joab, "Behold, the king is weeping and mourning for Absalom." So the victory that day was turned into mourning for all the people. For all people heard that day, the king is grieving for his son. And the people stole into the city that day as people steal in who are ashamed when they flee in battle. The king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, "O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son." Then Joab came into the house to the king and said, "You today have covered with shame the faces of all of your servants, who have this day saved your life, and the lives of your sons and your daughters, and the lives of your wives and your concubines, because you love those who hate you, and you hate those who love you. For you have made it clear today that commanders and servants are nothing to you. For today I know that if Absalom were alive and all of us were dead today, then you would be pleased." Eesh. "Now therefore arise, go out and speak kindly to your servants, for I swear by the Lord, if you do not go, not a man will stay with you this night. And this will be worse for you than all of the evil that has come upon you from your youth until now." Then the king arose and took his seat in the gate, and the people were all told, "Behold, the king is sitting in the gate." And all the people came before the king. Now Israel had fled, every man to his own home, and all the people were arguing throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, "The king delivered us from the hand of our enemies, and saved us from the hand of the Philistines. And now he has fled out of the land from Absalom. But Absalom, whom we anointed over us, is dead in battle. Now therefore, why do you say nothing about bringing the king back?" And King David sent this message to Zadok and Abiathar the priests. "Say to the elders of Judah, why should you be the last to bring the king back into the house when the word of all Israel has come to the king? You are my brothers, you are my bone and my flesh. Why then should you be the least to bring back the king? And say to Amasa, Are you not my bone and my flesh? God, do to me and more also if you are not commander of the army from now on in place of Joab. And he swayed the heart of all of the men of Judah as one man, so that they sent word to the king, Return both you and all your servants. So the king came back to the Jordan and Judah and came to Gilgal to meet the king and bring the king over the Jordan. Okay, doesn't sound like there's a ton here, but there is a ton. Okay, first things first. The king is acting like a tail between the legs, defeated crybaby, really. I mean, yes, Absalom is clearly David's son, and obviously David is rocked by it. But in light of all the bloodshed that's happened because of this, because of David's void of leadership, because of all of the people of Israel, they had to pick sides. The country is completely in chaos, all the blood, and Joab is just fuming. The commander of David's army, he is fuming because he's like, wait a minute, hold on. All of this, and you still cannot at least give a way to go or an attaboy to the people of Israel? No. You're acting like someone who has been, bested. We're our people are having to sneak into town like they were sent out and ran away from battle. You're not acting like a king. Joab is fuming. He is upset that the king has turned his victory into defeat and mourning, and he points out that even if they were all dead, but Absalom lived, he would be happy. The king would be happy. And so Joab makes a promise. Now, therefore, go, arise, and speak out kindly to your servants. For I swear by the Lord, if you do not go, not a man will stay with you this night, and this will be worse for you than all the evil that has come upon you from your youth until now. So he's like, dude, we have gone to hell and back for you, and you still act like it'd be better off if we were the ones that were dead and not him. He was going to kill you. You need to man up and knock this snot off. And so, basically, under threat of his army leaving, David, the king, arose and took his seat. And it doesn't really give a whole lot of pomp or a lot of excitement, or there's no verbiage there that seems, man, he's right, I should do this. It's more like he's defeated again. By the tone of the passage, it's like David is yet defeated again. He's like, you're right, fine, I'll go. You can read into that how you want to read into that, but that's how I'm kind of looking at it. Now, verse 6, that's when Joab really makes a public declaration of the leadership that is no longer there, the trust that is not had between the military leaders and him, and he makes it publicly and he makes it loudly. And especially when you start getting here into Judah, and then David, in an effort to glue the 12 tribes back, he's trying to get Judah, because Judah's going to be the most stubborn. Judah's going to be the one that is not going to want to have unity back. But he knows if he can sway the hearts of some of the upper ups, the generals, if we can sway them to come back, then he can glue everybody together and the rest of the tribes will just fall in line. Well, so what's he do? He goes to Amasa. Who's Amasa? Let me think for just 1 second. Amasa happens to be one of Joab's generals. He was basically, but he was a rebel. That he was one of Joab's generals, and then he went to the other side. He went to Absalom's side. And so basically he's trying to glue everybody together. Aren't you the flesh of my flesh? Aren't we? Why can't we work together? And he's I guess in a way he's trying to punish Joab because Joab killed Absalom when he should not have, according to David's word, even though he deserved death and should have gotten death. Maybe David's just kind of going, "Hey, punk, you should not have done that. So you're demoted." And hey, isn't this just fortuitous that Judah has a general that if we can glue everybody together, isn't this great? That is not going to sit too well with Joab, as you can imagine, especially in light of all of this, where he's basically forcing David to act like a king. This is not going to go good. But anyway, so, I mean, if you start adding it up, Joab is basically publicly shaming David, which would have been a jailable offense. It would have been a lose your life offense if you ticked off the wrong king at the wrong time. If you're sitting there calling somebody out and basically saying you are void of leadership, get your butt in that chair and start acting like a king, that's pretty much a quick way to die if the wrong king is having the wrong day. But why does Joab not care? Because he realizes how weak David has become. It's not good. He doesn't fear him. And now, Joab doesn't know this yet, but he's been demoted, and one of his generals, who went with the other side, is promoted to his job. This is not going to be good. So, let me see where we're at here. He's trying to basically glue everybody together to make some kind of an allegiance. And Joab is not going to like this. I kind of have this feeling, this sneaking suspicion, if you just take a look at who Joab is and how fiercely he defends Israel and his own position. Oh, think about it. He killed Absalom against David's specific word and was not afraid of it. Why? He understood David was void of true backbone. He didn't have a spine right now. He was not the David of old. And even though Absalom was his son, Joab was more interested in strengthening his position and strengthening Israel and purging Israel of this rebellion. And where David wouldn't do it, Joab would. Now, that's the kind of guy that's going to go, wait a minute, whoa. You're demoting me and you're putting a traitor in my place? Kind of sounds like smacks like the Benedict Arnold Benedict Arnold in the Revolutionary War. A guy who was true blue. And then all of a sudden he gets to a point where it's like, what? That's the straw that broke the camel's back. We'll see. We will certainly see. So, tomorrow, oh man, it gets good, guys. Somebody should rewrite this and just kind of put new names on it and make it in modern time, and you'd sell 1 billion copies because this is excellent. It's excellent. Anyway, so there it is. There's the Bible devotion for the day. I hope you like it. I know it's not the same thing as being live, and the goal is to be live on Monday morning again. But I did have some news, and it is not very good news. And especially one of you has sent a gift for us, and I assumed it was for veterinarian costs for our cow, Buttercup. Well, Prep Sitter Bob, and he's had cows for decades, hundreds and hundreds of cows he's had from beef, dairy. He's raised cows. He knows what's going on. He was there. So was my daughter Claire's boyfriend, Cody. They have a dairy. He's been around cows his whole life and sicknesses, and he knows what's what. And when Tim, my friend of Cody's, He was called. So Cody called Tim, who's a friend, and he basically, he's not a veterinarian, but he does that kind of stuff. He called him over because he said, "Hey, Buttercup is not doing well. The calf wouldn't get up." And so he came over and he checked for temperature, he checked for scours, he checked for all kinds of things, and could not figure out a single dang thing that was wrong. So they went back, and then with Prepstetter Bob, they basically gave him a shot of some antibiotics. They got a shot of vitamin D. It was either D or E. I can't remember. It usually perks animals right up. And then they were like, okay, well, let's go get some probiotics and some other things for the calf. And they were only gone an hour and a half, and by that time that they'd come back, the calf had died. So Mama is really kind of distraught because the way that we planned it out, there was going to always be milk happening because you got to give animals time to a break. They can't milk all the time or else it wears them out really fast. And so we were going to have 3 stacked up, so that way Grace would always have milk. And it didn't work out that way. They didn't do anything wrong. The guys, the 3 of them, didn't do anything wrong at all. As a matter of fact, they did everything right. And all of them were just puzzled, like, how did this happen? This was a healthy cow a day ago. And so we don't know what to make of it at all. They said there were no marks, no nothing. But they also said, Prepstetter Bob said, hey, I've had cows that are 450 pounds that look great one day and then just drop. So anyway, thank you guys for your prayers. I guess this one was one that we need to just thank God for the time we had, and maybe this is a way to reorganize the priorities on how we're supposed to figure out the milk situation for Grace. Maybe we're just supposed to find a different cow. Maybe that's it. And so wanted to give you the news on that. Yeah, just stinks, you know. Anyway, so hey guys, please don't forget to pray for each other. It's super, super important, and feeds your own soul too. When you see those names popping up in the chat and you're going, I pray for Phoebe all the time. Whenever something like this happens in my life, I think of her and I pray for her. I pray for Mike DeFazio every time I think of da-da-da-da. I pray for, Steve anytime I'm having barbecue, because he's a barbecue guy. He does all that kind of stuff. And I think of all of you guys, and I hope that you think of the others as well, because not only is this encouraging and nourishing to your soul, it should be food for everyone else too. So there it is. Might be able to get live tomorrow. We'll see, but I'm going to go ahead and post this. And holy smokes, the moon looks crazy. I'm just looking outside. It's like a really bright peach color. Anyway, have a blessed day, and we'll see you very soon. So, bye.